Great.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
And greetings, and welcome to the Soul Citizens. I am GriffinGamingRPG, and we are back for another fun-filled week of Star Citizen in the midst of all the challenges of Cyberpunk 2077. And so I am here. Oh, my audio's not coming through. My audio wasn't coming through. Oh my God. No wonder everybody's sitting there with
we couldn't hear you either.
Yeah, I was like, why do I not have audio for
I know. I was double clicking things. Anyway, hi everybody. The people who were online heard me, but obviously I didn't have my guests hear me or my hosts. But anyway, we're back again for another fun-filled week of Star Citizen in the midst of a week of Cyberpunk 2077. We are still alive. We're still here. Yes, and we have so much cool stuff to talk about. And yeah, we want to first introduce who we have on the show today. We have, as I'll start with the ladies first, we have the green-eyed gal. Gigi is back with us this week. Hey, Gigi.
Hi. How are we, y'all? How you doing today, chat? Let's do the thing.
Yeah, and you have interesting. Could you do me a favor, bring your monitor down just a little bit because it looped back in. I know you're on the speaker, and you have an interesting background behind you. What's up with the background?
Look at everybody.
Yeah,
it's Pico.
Yeah, he's as big as you are. That's the scary part about it.
No. You want to know what's really cool?
What's really cool? Oh boy, there it is, guys.
Oh, that's it. Okay, here we go.
He finally arrived. I don't know
how
many weeks have you been talking about that thing coming. Oh my God.
Nice.
Yep.
His little snowboard says Microtech on the back. Look at it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, amazing that thing costs $30. That's what's amazing. But
no, it's on sale.
Freaking adorable and worth it.
It's on sale.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll have to see if I can get one. I can get a virtual
one.
Oh
my God! What?
All right. Well, anyway, it's good to see you, Gigi, and we have the man, the professor himself, KEMI65. What's up, brother?
07, everyone. Glad to be here, and I gotta say this: shout out for Tommy Lister Jr. You know him as Debo of Friday and Next Friday, as well as the infamous Fifth Element. He was President Lindbergh. Unfortunately, he left us due to COVID-19 contraction, and we wish him well. And he made us laugh, and he kept us in awe, and seeing his career really flourish. And so he will never be forgotten. Fifth Element, 07.
Yeah, absolutely. 62 years old too, man. That's too bad. Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. JJ, good to have you. You're not late. You're right on time. We're just getting warmed up.
Right on time, buddy.
And last but not least, we have a special guest. We've been snatching these folks from over at the Relay SC. But we have the man who always reminds us that NASA is still alive and SpaceX is still kicking.
Yes.
Nakara.
Yes.
Kicking hard.
Yes.
How are you, man?
I'm great. Glad to be here. It's been too long.
Good. By the way, did you see the background I put behind you?
I did. Thank you very much. It's the same background you had when you were on Relay Station.
There you go. So there
nice.
you go. It's all yours. So there you go. Well, listen, folks, we're glad to have you guys back with us for another week. We're hitting another one of these interesting monthly conversations. This one is one that I've been anticipating, even though there are a lot of people who aren't that crazy about it. And it's industrial. But before we get to that, as you guys know, 3.12 is out right now. It was in Evocati last time we were together, and it is now with First Wave. So that's those of you who are subscribers and concierge. And 3 out of the 4 of us have had the opportunity to do it. Gigi's got a busy life, and she hasn't had a chance to jump in. But Kimmy and Nakara and myself have had some time, just a little bit of time. I only went in one time to see a Lagrange point. But let me start with Nakara. You're our guest today, so give us any initial feedbacks. Was there anything you did get to dabble in while you monkeyed around in 3.12?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've played about 4 hours so far. in 312, and yeah, I mostly fly a Prospector a lot of the time. I like mining. Pretty well developed game loop at this point. And there were also some tweaks to it, of course, and we had the refineries. I absolutely love the refinery decks. They did a beautiful job on especially on the fine details of that environment. Lighting and I was talking about this on Relay Station, but they made it feel like a real workplace almost. You know, they had like the med station set up for the employees, and there's like stretchers in case somebody gets hurt. And yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah.
And you know, normal PTU problems, but it is pretty stable, especially today. They had a new patch that just came out recently. And the gas clouds are absolutely gorgeous.
Okay. 1 point.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I accidentally stranded my Anvil Arrow at a Lagrange point, though, because I flew to a Lagrange point that didn't have a station. Whoops.
Yeah. They say, "Where's the station at?" Oh my God, it's not one here. Yeah.
Oh, I'm out of quantum fuel.
That's awesome. Okay, well, thanks. That's good stuff to share. Kimmy, what about you? What anything stick out for you?
Oh yeah, good stuff, Nakara. Yeah, I want to expound on that. The mineable values have been cut down substantially, which is going to encourage you to be more involved in multiplayer. But some of the things that were the underlying things that they did was the UI when we're talking about the elevator panels, stability with those panels, because we see so many user interfaces in game. Now we're talking about taking all those assets and making them more stable, optimizing them, which will take down that tech debt in game. So that was really refreshing to see. But another component was the fact that, you know, with new players jumping in the game, I really love the fact that, remember back in the day when they used to have the hangars, and then all of a sudden they snatched all of our toys in the hangar, and then they said, well, in order for you to pull up your items now, you had to find a little golf ball and spawn those items. So they reconstituted those assets and placed them into, I call them POEs, points of entry to your ships. So I thought that was really, really a huge thing for potentially new backers, people getting into the verse for the first time. So I thought that was really, really cool. And the fact that I'm seeing substantial gains in the frames per second in game as well. And details of the planets. That's all I got. But beautiful. It's I love it.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, details are gorgeous on the planets.
Yep, definitely. Gigi, I know you haven't had a chance to jump in, but I do know you're big on mining. And that's why you're on the industrial show today, too, in fact. So is there something in particular with the refineries? Is there stuff like that? Is that stuff you've been kind of looking forward to?
Definitely. One of the things that I was in... I played in 310. I don't think I played much in 311. I was having performance problems in that patch. In 310, I played for about 14 hours or 15 hours mining. And the big problem with mining at that point, even though it worked quite well, was that you had to go down the gravity well at Microtech all the way back down to New Babbage to refine, which is a long haul.
Run. Yep.
Especially in that patch because the thrusters on the Prospector weren't working properly, so landing was a freaking adventure.
Yeah, good point.
So being able to visit a space station instead of a planet to refine is huge.
That's nice.
Cuts down a lot of time. And the whole refining process is just amazing. There's a lot of depth to it, and a lot of stuff I have not even been able to touch yet. There's like 6 different methods of refining, and each one of them has different pluses and minuses. Some of them take longer, some of them cost more money, some of them give you better yields, you know, that kind of thing.
Cool. Gigi, I know that you like to mine, so is this something you're looking forward to, taking the next level with mining beyond your Prospector?
Oh, absolutely. You know, that's like Nakara, usually if you see me out and about, I'm in my Prospector because that's what I'm doing. I'm somewhere, I'm mining, trying to make some money to upgrade my ship and, you know, put in new components and make things pretty and make things work well. So, yeah, absolutely. Like you said, like cutting down that freaking haul all the way back to a planet for refinery is everything, because it's so frustrating, especially because I'm not the best player, right? So halfway to where I'm going, I forget, and then I remember, oh crap, I can't do this there. Now I gotta go somewhere, stop for more fuel because I've wasted half my fuel getting halfway to the wrong place and then go to where I need to go. And it's such a pain. So just being able to cut out the middleman there and just go to a space station would be excellent.
Okay. I got you, Raymar. Guys, we're going to do a quick audio check. We've got some funky stuff going on today. I just brought Nakara down. Nakara, would you just do a quick test 1, 2, 3, and you guys let us know how we sound.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Is he better now, Raymar? Awesome. And Kimmy, can you do a test, please?
07 Soul Citizens, thanks for being here, and hello.
Gigi, they say you. Can you do one, please?
Hello, hello, everybody. This is Gigi.
All right. What about Gigi? Everybody's good? Awesome. Thanks, guys. We appreciate that. See, we have a great community because they don't want us to put out crummy YouTube videos that nobody can hear later on. So we appreciate that. Really,
you know what?
We really do appreciate that.
The fact, Griff, you hit something that's been resonating for me, and I'm going to be real quick. The fact that you mentioned community, and I got to say this, shout out 07s to this community when we look at the end of the year and what they were able to do, what they were able to maintain as far as this vision and this belief in this best damn space sim ever. You guys held the line. Went throughout all of this. It could have been, well, there's no Citizen Con. Oh, well, forget it. No more funding. We're walking off. We're out of here. But no, you held on to the vision. This has been the best year ever for Star Citizen game development, Cloud Imperium Games. And I just wanted to say thank you, because you're the pinnacle of this project. You're the shining star to this project. You've held it down. You held it. And I want to say 07 and thank you.
We would like to say 07 and thank you. We all would like to say that to you guys. All right, we're going to jump into it because we've got a lot of ships to cover today.
Wait,
so
just before we do that, because I know Fast Card's been waiting and he didn't get to see Fast Card look.
Oh, we're going to see that thing about 10 more times.
And it's soft and plushy, Fast Card.
Oh, God. Okay. All right.
Pico's here.
Pico has arrived.
He goes like, I ain't going nowhere.
All right. So listen, I'm going to put up the waiver for the show because we always do this. We want you to know that the ships that we pick today are ships that are designated by CIG, not us. But we will, at the end of the show, if we have enough time, talk about ships that we may think should be in the category. So there may be ships that even you guys think should fit into this category of industrial. So just want to give you that as a little precursor before we get started. If you check out what's on the screen right now, this was pulled from the shipyards on the CIG site. And as you guys know, on the left side, they have these different categories of careers. And in fact, Nakara just kind of mentioned something that I've actually forgotten about, because Kimmy asked about one ship in particular that was not listed under industrial that we all kind of thought, yeah, that should have been industrial. But they've also created a category called construction now. So the Pioneer is not going to be on the list today, even though we would have thought it would have landed under industrial, but they've evidently created a new career category. And I think, Nakara, you even said earlier, this might lend itself to the fact that maybe there'll be more than one type of construction ship. So that'll be another show if construction opens up, and we just want to kind of put that in there as a precursor for you guys, okay? So if you look under that industrial category, you'll see that they break it down into what type of roles fall in that. Mining is one of them, salvage is one, and science is the other one. Yeah, JJ, they don't consider construction industrial. Go figure, right? But hey, I'm sure they have some master plan going on. TV Liquid, hey, thank you for the follow. He's always streaming out there. Y'all check out TV Liquid. Thanks for the follow. Okay, let's go ahead and jump into making it hot. This is a ship that I would have never expected to be considered industrial until I talked to some of my good friends, and then they woke me up to the reality of this ship. Did you guys think that the Nomad would be considered industrial? Nakara, give me your shots. Give me your thoughts here.
Okay, straight up, no.
Okay.
Agreed.
Off the hop, no, I didn't think the Nomad was going to be an industrial ship. But hey, I'm not the one making the game.
Okay, fair enough. Do you own one?
I do not own a Nomad. No.
Okay.
I can sort of see it, but
yeah,
I mean,
I get that. Yep.
It's I don't know. It's a little mysterious to me.
Yeah, I wouldn't have expected. Kimmy, do you own a Nomad? I know we kind of talked about this before. Do you
yes,
own
I
one?
do.
You do.
I do own one.
Okay. Okay.
In that context of it, though, when you and Nakara, I have to agree with you, but then when you approach that statement again, and you add all these components of what the groundwork was and what the plan was from SIG, they made it very affordable. So a lot of people naturally grabbed it. So then when you use that context of it's a volume, it's heavy volume. You look at our industry today out in the real world. How is the industry being supplied? By trucks. That when we get stuff that gets the PlayStation 5s and all these components get hauled on these trucks, and they get sent out to distributions, or they come from distribution centers and such. And so in that context of what SIG has laid out, it does fall into that category now, because now they have a metrics. They have actual metrics to show that now we're talking about volumes of haulers that will take and run cargo outside of just the MISC hull, because now you can haul these items, but at the same time be able to protect yourself as well. So it lends to the narrative of, at some point, yeah, you may get attacked, but at the same time, you won't be stopped, because you're going to take out some pirates as well, because you have the capabilities. But according to the volume that they've sold these ships, it adds into the narrative of the conversation of, yes, it's industrial. It adds into that economic system.
GG, you had contemplated this ship, but you opted not to go this way. You skipped over from a Titan, where a lot of people went from a Titan to this. You went from a Titan to a Drake, Cutlass Black. So
Yeah.
what was it about? Was there anything about this ship that just you didn't like, or was it just the fact that you said, nah, I don't need to make that next step, I'm just going to go all the way up?
Well, for one, I just don't like how it looks. I'm being very honest with you. I think it's ugly.
Fair enough.
Okay, now functional, yes, but I also think it's ugly.
Okay.
I do not think that the Cuddy Black is ugly. So, and in the grand scheme of things, for me, when I'm doing this kind of mental math, the bigger thing for me is, what am I more willing to work for in game?
Okay.
So if I'm vacillating between two, it's like, well, I could work for the Nomad easier than I could work for the Cuddy Black.
Okay.
And I wanted that best in show skin with the Cuddy. So
Nice.
That's simple and fair enough. Okay.
Nice.
For me, I guess to what Nakara and Kenny were both saying, this ship is kind of like a hybrid. It's not, even though it is considered a starter ship, when we compare it to all the other starter ships that might have, anywhere from 2 to 4 CCU, not CCU, SCU, this one has what, 24?
24.
So like you said, Kimmy, it's almost like a pickup truck. You can do a little bit more with it than you can with some of the other ships in relation to commerce and moving stuff around for somebody who does come in at an entry level. Now, weirdly enough, this ship is $70. Hull A is 40 or 45 bucks. And it's just kind of interesting, the difference in that pricing for these. I was surprised that so many people bought it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm sure there were the people out there who got it as a token, but it wasn't necessary to get this as a token, because you could have bought a rock, or you could have bought something even cheaper for a token. So there were a lot of people who seemed like they got this ship and they were happy with it. They were, once they kind of balanced it out a little bit and got past
until they realized they had to go all the way through the ship to offload the cargo, because there was no way to get on and off the bed from outside.
I admit that's the one thing I don't like about this ship, and I mentioned this when we reviewed it a couple weeks ago. That back window should have been a back door that led to the flatbed in the back. The fact that you've got to get on a ladder and go down to walk around to the back, I don't get it, CIG. Please change that window into a door that slides to the left or right, so people can reach their cargo and get into the ship very easily and not have to expose themselves by walking around on the outside of the ship. Okay, enough of that one. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This is one that is in concept still, boom, the SRV, Argo. Now, Argo is one of those companies for me that when I hear their name, I just think industrial. Nakara, I'm gonna start with you again. I'm surprised that the Argo cargo and personnel are not considered industrial. Freaked me out completely. So instead they jump over those two and go to this one. What do you think about this? Do you think this is going to be a ship that people tie in? Are they going to run a tow company business, or is this going to be something that's going to be people who maybe are running a crucible, or is it going to be an org related ship? What do you think? How do you think this one lands?
Actually, you know what? This one's what's their crew like on this sucker? This is a
I feel like it's like a one-man.
It's actually max one crew. So yeah. I honestly see this as the solo tow truck operator. That's their job. That's what they want to do in the game. They want to rescue people's ships, and you know, you wait for those contracts to pop up on your screen. Grab them, go and get the buddy's ship and tow them in back to Port Olisar or, you know, Ruin Station in Pyro, wherever you are. Obviously, very handy ship to have around in an org. But I even think that there will be a lot of people who are just like, you know what, today I'm going to go help a bunch of people and I'm just going to go and tow their ships and they can give me money.
Okay.
Like my arrow that I got stuck at Hardcore Pel4.
Yeah. Okay. Kimmy, on the PR for this ship, on the marketing, not only do they show it towing a ship, they show it actually towing Cutlass Black. They also show it moving cargo. Do you think that this will be one of the things that we see people utilizing or orgs utilizing, moving cargo around with this ship?
I can see that. I definitely can see that as far as cargo. I had one of these ships and I ended up melting it. I had it in a pack and I turned it into something else. But they did say, Cloud Imperium Games did mention that if you're trying to tow a capital ship, you will need to work with a group of these SRVs in order to pull a capital size ship. With that said, yeah, it's interesting, but it looks like they're working their way up to the tech that will allow you to haul or pull these ships with we have that now with 312. So we're seeing the first iteration of pulling cargo with the tractor beam. So basically it's a full-fledged high-level tractor beam with this type of ship. But again, there's going to be a lot of things that you can pull and haul. I think it also lends into salvage as well.
Excuse me 1 second. Uber Nerd with a rate of 141 people. Nerds, thank you, nerds. Welcome.
Uber Nerd 07.
Thank you, Uber Nerd, as always. You are always the man with the plan and with a bunch of people that you send our way. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Hitman 1.
You guys, welcome. Thanks. We're just talking about, we just got started. We're talking about what are going to be industrial ships and industrial career in Star Citizen. And go ahead, Kimmy. I'm sorry.
But no, that's great. Thank you again, Uber Nerd. You're always appreciated, man. And again, with the SRV, it's so organic in regards to what you're able to do with this ship. You can pull cargo. You can pull salvageables. It's so great in that area that, you know, if the tractor beam works on it, it's yours, literally. So it's basically you're going out there and just looking for stuff, and whether it means if you're in an org, yes, of course, you have that crucible and you have that mid-sized to single ship, and they're unable to get from A to B because they were in a PvP experience, but they survived.
Okay.
All that ship back and get it repaired.
Okay, cool. Gigi, what do you think if your ship breaks down? Are you going to go for insurance? Or are you going to call the tow truck? Which one do you think you're going to go for?
I think it depends heavily on how badly damaged my ship is. I think it depends heavily on where I am. I think with this, I wonder, are you going to get towed willingly or not?
Yeah.
Because, like, you could people might use it for scavenging
Yeah.
or other things, you know. And you know, little old me, I don't really like to fight people, but I will if you try to tow me away without my permission.
Well, you know what, you mentioned a good point, because I think one of the things that we don't think about, Kryptonology, thank you for the follow. Vengeful 1977, thank you for the follow. VW Insanity, thank you for the follow. Onidraw, thank you for the follow. Nautic Ank, thank you for the follow. Hitman1, thank you for the follow. Kenrid, thank you for the follow. Appreciate you all hanging out with us right now. Gigi, here's a question I want to ask you. Like right now, there's certain things in the game that we do right now that aren't in the final version of the game, right? And you just mentioned something that disturbed me. I want to ask you this. Your ship for some reason that breaks down, whether you've had a fight or whatever the case may be, but you're still alive, right? You're the last one standing, last woman standing.
Right.
Systems have been messed up. Oxygen is depleting. Okay. So at this point, the option of leaving your ship there is a possibility, right? Where you can maybe call for a beacon and someone can pick you up, but you still have to leave your ship, right? Or do you just say, hey, I'm going to try to wait for that tow truck? Is that good? How do you think players are going to respond to that? Because evidently they're going to have to make it.
Another thing, like that's just one of those considerations you're going to have to make in the moment. It's going to depend on what circumstance you're in. Like you said, if your oxygen's depleting, you may not have time to sit around and wait for the tow truck to get there. You need to send out a beacon and get somebody to you right now. You know what I mean? But if you just saw a few sparks off the back of your ship and you're like, maybe don't take her out. I'll wait it out and get her back and get her fixed. You might call the tow truck because the tow truck's probably cheaper than paying off that insurance deductible.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I have another thought on this one. I was thinking about this. Another use case for this ship would be fleet support. Like if you're in a big battle, it would be very helpful to have a couple of these ones hanging back a little bit and then pulling ships out of the fight that are you know damaged but not destroyed,
but getting them out of the way.
And especially if you're in like a far-flung area, it's like, would you want to have like this area behind where you're fighting where you have repair ships and SRVs to bring ships back. Especially because they talk specifically in the description about how this ship has heavy armor and shields, so you can kind of dip your nose into those combat areas, grab a ship, and then get out of there.
Good point. And one of the other things that they talked about on this ship, and I'll say this, and then we'll move on to the next one. They talked about if you're leaving atmosphere with a ship that was having difficulty, that you could use multiple of these ships to help support getting that ship out of atmosphere. So like Kimmy said earlier, coordinated effort might be a factor, you know, even though you may have that one-man operation. It's got a lot of value, and it's going to be really interesting to see how CIG creates the mechanics for people to introduce this. Evidently, they've thought some things out. This isn't just out there. We always say they don't put stuff in the game for the heck of it.
Chat is currently saying that insurance has gotten a huge change. Apparently, it takes 15,000 AUEC to expedite a tally, or you got to wait 2 hours.
That's right. That's right. And it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse.
Expedite time of an hour and a 40K fee.
That's right. That's right. It's going to get worse. It's coming. These people are going to be weeping.
Upgrade your ships, folks.
So y'all get ready for that.
Don't let your damaged ship become that coffee cup.
Don't blow your things up anymore, everybody.
All right. Okay, let's move on to the big brother of this, because this is the one that I think that's going to be interesting. When I read the original description for the Crucible, they actually said that the Crucible was going to have something that was like a drone that could tow, but they've taken that away now. And I think that by introducing the SRV, that kind of created a gameplay mechanic. This ship, and Nakara, again, I know we can talk about people making money in an operation, but is the Crucible something that we could see anytime soon, or is it going to take a while before we get to this? Because in my table, this is one of those ships that's down the road somewhere. But repair is going to be important pretty soon. Do you think that we'll see the Crucible pop up anytime soon, or the Vulcan maybe start out as a beginning to that?
I really like the Crucible. In terms of its release timing, yeah, I'm thinking probably not super soon. They really need to have the repair mechanics well and truly under control and well implemented before you want to put a heavy repair ship into the game. They tend not to put the heavies anyway as their first option. maybe more like a Vulcan or something to start.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna say probably at the end of next year, at the soonest.
So you think the CIG that was a fluke in the early days because the Reclaimer was heavy, the Starfarer was heavy, and their smaller ships came later. But you think now it's start with the smaller mechanic and build your way up now, probably, right?
I do think they're gonna go smaller. I don't because you saw it too with the hulls are missing. You're missing the Orion,
Mm-hmm.
and I also don't think you're gonna see it anytime soon.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they made those ships at that time because they were the quintessential ship of their game mechanic. But once they had things like there are smaller mining ships now. They went with the Prospector first,
Okay.
and then with the rock, and then with the hand mining, they got the small stuff down.
Okay.
I think that they'll probably go more with that direction because you don't want to have to rework the mining mechanic of the RSI Orion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right.
You want it
right.
to be done.
Right. Okay. Good point. Kimmy, what about you? Do you own a Crucible, or did you ever have one?
I do. I do own the Crucible, and yes, I concur with Nakara. Simple math. You add up persistence. You add up the materials. You add up all the ships. You add up the gameplay mechanics in order to make that work with all ships. Yes, much later than sooner.
Good point. Good point. Gigi, you said that you're a support person. Is this the type of ship that you'd be willing to work on? In between those flights, and you say, Kimmy says, hey, I need a couple people to come out here and work, because I think this takes like 4 or 5 people to run this sucker. It's not a one-man operation, one-woman operation. Are you the type of person that would do support to help do that type of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I had considered buying a Crucible. Like, I had thought about the idea of that being one of the major ships that I worked for in the game. Because I do prefer kind of secondary play style. I prefer supporting play because I liked the detachable pressurized workspace, where you could kind of just be in your space and then operate out if you needed to. But I just don't know how much I personally would get done with it.
Okay.
I worry that it would just be one of those ships that's in my inventory that I don't use.
Okay.
And so I don't want to do that, but I would absolutely work on one.
Okay, cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to step it up here and go to the next one. We were going to move out of that category of repair and salvage to the Rock. This little monster came out earlier this year, if I'm not mistaken, and it came out at $50, and people got really, really excited about it. It was very buggy. It was the wheels were very slippery. It slid around whenever you used it, and it had a lot of problems in the beginning.
It also got eaten by planets.
It got eaten by planets. That's true. They just disappear on you, right? Absolutely. So, Nakara, talk to us about the Rock. What do you think about this in the way you see mining evolving? Because this is kind of like that low-level, entry-level kind of thing here at $50.
It's interesting because I like mining, but to me the Rock feels too manual. Having to, because you're like blasting the little gems, and then you have to get out of your ship and you have to go and pick them up, and then you have to go walk around the back and you have to shove them in the back, and then you have to go back around to the front and jump back in your Rock and then drive away. It's too manual.
It's the same annoyance of the Nomad, that having to get out and go around the back and do actual work when the whole point is being in the ship and doing it.
But wait a minute. This goes to show that both of you guys were doing this sucker when it wasn't working right, because now it works right.
Oh, the tractor beam works?
The beam works on it now. Yeah.
Oh,
the tractor beam works. Hey, there we go.
So you guys,
another thing to that.
You guys were in those early days when that sucker was not sucking up nothing, and you had to get out of the thing.
You had to get out, go pick up the crystals, go back around the back of it, shove them in the trunk, get back in the thing, go find another crystal. It was a pain.
Kendrake says that no, you don't have. You can suck it up like the Prospector. Okay,
then that's perfectly fine.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's wonderful.
My question, see, the thing that I really wanted was I wanted something that and this is totally unobtainable because of how they made the Prospector, but it'd be great if the rock was attachable to the Prospector in some way, because I want both of them.
Yeah, right? I would love,
can't
like,
have both of them.
Yeah.
It would be really nice if there was some way to take your rock out with you while you were mining with your Prospector.
I agree.
Because you come across those little hand mineable gems while you're out on your Prospector, and it would be great if you could just drop your rock, run out and get it, and then come back. And considering that they're both mining ships, come on, y'all, give us a way to do that.
Yeah, that's absolutely. Can the mole hold a rock?
Nope.
I don't know.
Nope. I can tell you now. Nope.
Right. It's like, why are you making it so hard to operate mining ships together?
Because they made it. See, what's really
weird.
But
the Nomad can.
No, it can't. Believe it or not. You know what, Kimmy? I tried to take a rock out on it, and you know, at the top there's that thing that flips down. You know what I'm talking about? That thing comes down and knocks the rock out of your thing. And because the grid isn't completely there, if you leave it open with the ramp down, the rock rolls off and slides off and goes off your ship. So it'd be nice if they get it together. The ship that most people were using was like the Cutlass. The Cutlass Black was the ship that a lot of people that were doing one-man operations, they just loaded into that and go. But I agree.
I want to load it onto a ship where I can mine big rocks too.
But I agree.
Like, I want to be able to do multiple forms of mining at a time. I don't want to have to just mine rocks or just mine gems. Let me do both. I'm trying to make money.
Okay, Chody,
so I can buy your things.
Shody, I see what you're saying. Shody says if you toggle the arm, you can get it to stay in there in the what is that ship called?
I don't want the ship. I don't want the single ship to do several things, Chody. I want to be able to take the smaller land ship on my bigger mining ships, so that I can use them both while I am out in the verse.
To what Chad is saying, and to what we are all saying, and to what SIG has planned, is the fact that when we put all these components and elements together of gameplay, what's required with this? Organized gameplay, multiplayer gameplay. Once we have everyone together in the pool doing this one operation amongst many, all these things can be achieved with these various vehicles and assets and features in game.
Yeah. Okay.
So do you want to know something funny about that situation? I actually discovered if you go super low power on your mining laser on the Prospector, you can mine those gems.
Ooh. Ooh, are you serious?
I never tried on the Prospector. Really?
You gotta go really far
really
away,
low,
really far away. You gotta aim perfectly. You gotta use super low power, and you can mine those gems.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Holy crap!
All right, you guys heard it here. If it doesn't work, send all email to Nakara.
Know what I'm doing later.
Wow.
At least, okay, that was a couple patches ago. If it doesn't work now,
well, Kendrick says he knew about it.
Kendrick said, "Oh, I thought that was my secret."
All right,
that's awesome.
We'll see.
Well, now it is the secret of 104 other people, buddy.
Oh, that is funny. Okay, all right. So I think I think Chody. Someone said it earlier, or no, it was Envoy. Envoy said CIG doesn't want single ships to do everything, and that's true. Don't get me wrong. We understand. I think what we're saying is, as miners, if I'm going to go out and do some mining, for example, there's some rocks I can't access because I don't have the rock with me. So all we're saying is that it'd be nice to be able to have the rock, be able to load in, and then when I go do my mining, if I need to get out, I can park, my rock can come out, and I can do my mining in that. Or if I need to be in my Prospector, and trust me, we're big advocates and understand that Chris does want this social dynamic of gameplay, and not the Frankenstein ship that does everything. But
nearby caves.
Exactly. You know what would be really cool?
Use a rock for nearby caves.
Yeah.
Put a winch on the back of the Prospector so you can drag your rock along with you. That would be cool. If you would drag a trailer on a pickup, how cool would that be?
Oh god! Oh god! Yeah, that would be a disaster. You know that would be a disaster.
It would blow up before you got anywhere near where you wanted to go, but it would look so cool.
Yeah, Cool Turtle.
SRV comes in, I'll take that.
Yeah, for real. Cool Turtle 24, thanks for the follow. Kendrick, thanks for the follow. And Oregon Goalie, thank you for the follow as well. Okay, so enough of rocking and rolling. Let's move it up to let's start moving it up to the the entry level here, the next level entry level of mine, or at least it was the entry level until the Rock came in, and that's the Prospector. Nakara, he loves it. Yeah, give us some thoughts on this. You know the history of this ship, so anything you want to say about it?
Is one of the best ships in Star Citizen right now. That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I love this ship. So what exactly did you want me to talk about, Griffin?
No, just anything you want to share about it. I mean, I know this is your thing, so I'm just saying, is there anything in particular about this ship? Yeah.
The Griffin.
I mean, this is where they introduced mining into the game for us. So, anything you want to share about that with the Prospector?
So, a couple things about the Prospector. First of all, especially now that they fixed the thrusters, it's a joy to fly. It's obviously not like a super fast little ship, but it is a lot of fun to fly. Gets out of atmosphere in a hurry now. Another big problem that it had before. Really, really love the cockpit on this ship. Being able to see really well is nice when you're mining, because you got all those rocks around you everywhere. Not the little tiny, you know what I mean. Anyway, one of the things I absolutely adore about this ship is that they, when they were designing it, they designed it with the hull B in mind. So the hull B and the Prospector will be a natural synergy. Those pods on the side of the Prospector can be popped off, and the hull B can mount them on its cargo structure. So you can just pop off those pods. If you got a buddy running a hull B, he can load them up and go back and take them to a refinery, which takes time anyway, and then come back to you, and you'll have more for him. Such a cool little mechanic for 2 players. Cool. Yeah, love this thing.
Okay. Kimmy, this has been the moneymaker for a lot of people. I know you own a Prospector. What is the, in the beginning when the Mole came out, there was a lot of backing and forthing about, well, which one do you make more money with? People automatically assume because you had 3 lasers on the Mole, you make more profit. But people have also found out that ain't so necessarily true, right? So will this ship remain viable as a one-person, tool to go out and mine? Or do you think people will gravitate more toward the Mole and stuff like that?
I think it's you have both aspects of it, but when you're talking about people who want to just jump into the game and they're, it's just them, this is perfect. And again, this always has a soft spot in my heart about this ship, because it was the quintessential career-based ship, and it was it made history because it was the very first ship that was unmilitary, not fighting, but how to attain money other than cargo hauling. And with that said, we saw the first iteration of what that means with the economy and how it affects it. And they continued the narrative of creating this gameplay mechanic that expanded to where it is now. And it's to a point that is still one of the go-tos. Of course, we have more online careers coming down, and it just shows you how well and how in-depth SIG is as far as getting these careers playable, fun, interacting, but at the same time, they're looking at both narratives of single player and multiplayer. So people who are based on solitude or just want to relax by themselves, this is always and will always be that go-to ship. So in the sense of working with others, you can still have the single player experience and have multiples out there, or you can see neighboring mining ships. But yeah, this is the quintessential single player career ship right here, the Prospector.
Okay. I'm glad you shared that, Kimmy, because we have gone out in groups before. I've been out with you before, Gigi. We've gone out in groups before.
Yeah.
And no, but we have. Right.
What are you doing, dude?
But we
He's
have.
about to run into me.
No,
I don't know, man.
We had
crazy.
What's going on? Let's just say we had a couple explosive moments while we were out there, right? That's about it. But to your point, you're right. It doesn't mean that you have to all pile into a mole. You can have 2 or 3 people, and 2 or 3 people can be scanning in different directions, and you can work as a team. Or you can also have that social dynamic or that collaborative, that cooperative thing that goes on if you want to jump into a mole. Gigi, out of all the ships that you jumped to, I think you went from a Titan right to a Prospector. Why did you pick that in particular? Why that one?
Well, frankly, we'll just be honest about it. Mining is the most well fleshed out aspect of the game. Like if there's going to be a career and you want to do it right now, it's going to be mining because everything else isn't functional quite yet. Also, we know that I like secondary gameplay. So mining was perfect. I didn't have to fight people unless they came, you know, looking free for me somewhere off on the middle of Daymar, and good luck to you. If you find me off in the middle of Daymar scanning, I will shoot at you too. So fine, great, whatever. But I really wanted to do mining. I wanted to get into it. I was really interested in it from the start. So it was an easy choice. And along with what Kemi was saying, I would not buy a mole as much as I like the mole and as much as I like mining. The mole is that ship where Chris Roberts is forcing social gameplay again, which is great. That's the whole point of Star Citizen. But if you don't have 10 people right now to work your mole, you're not going to get anything done. You're not going to make any money. So it's a worthless piece of machinery.
Okay.
It until if you can get in that Prospector and go make 50K right now, that's better than staring at a mole that you can't man and go make nothing.
Okay, good point. Well,
I've also seen if somebody does start chasing you around when you're in your Prospector, apparently just turn on your mining laser at 100% and point it at them.
Yeah, I've heard that does
heavy
some damage. Yeah, I heard it does damage. Yeah.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah.
It's fair, but it's fair.
That is super fair. And I'm going to do that because I had a carrot come after me once. And I was able to just kind of get out of there because it's a big, slow carrot and I was a little bit smaller. But the next time, somebody's going to take a mining laser to the ship.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh my God! Standard Dev, thank you for 7 months subscription.
Oh my God!
Thank you, Standard. We love you.
Thank you, man. Oh
awesome.
My God!
Thank you.
Stop spending your money. Save it for ships. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you.
Also, while we have 100 people here, everybody look.
Oh God!
Good for you, GG.
We got about seven more of those coming. We got about 7 more of those coming.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
Pico is here.
One good. Here's the last point about real quick. The Prospector. This is an aha moment. This is a technical thing about the Prospector. I have a throttle. I have dials. This was the first time that I was able to incorporate my dials with the mining laser. What is it? The UI. The intensity. And so I set the dial. So when I go to, so I use the math equation of greater than, less than, because it's intuitive, right? And so to the left, it's less than, to the right, it's greater. So it allows me to look at the mining laser and to work myself in between the green zones. And who does that? Who does that? Who develops a game like that where you can use those dials with a mining laser, the intensity, and those dials are spot on, analog, absolute spot on, and that's why that still remains one of my hearts right there of incorporating your hardware into the game as well.
That's a good point. Good points. And just so you guys will know, some of you already know this if you've been in PTU. And CIG had talked about this a few weeks ago that they were revamping the UI for all the mining ships. And the UI now is amazing. So when you get a chance, you're going to be so happy that they've made it so much better. Yes, they're still going to be working on it. This ain't the final rendition, I guarantee you, but it is better than what we had. And you'll feel like you have much more control and awareness while you're mining, as well as you guys know, you'll even be able to see what resources are being separated in your ship, what percentages you have. It's just gotten a lot better. So let me jump from that ship to the next one because we just got finished talking about it, and that was the Argo Mole. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on this ship, other than the fact that we know that it is basically a 1, 2, 3, 4 person, 5 person operation. Pilot, co-pilot, 3 people on lasers. I've seen people take this ship out and say, "Oh, I'll go out with 2 people." To be honest with you, unless I have this fully manned, I don't go out with it. I just don't. because of the economic dynamic of it with the game.
Fuel.
Yeah, some of you also know, I think Kimmy mentioned this earlier, the prices have been adjusted in the game for resources now because they're setting up the difference between raw materials and refined materials. So don't lose your mind over that. Understand that when these numbers change, there's never anything that's permanent when they go up, down, whatever the case may be, because they want us to do certain things in the game from a testing standpoint. But I will say this: when Argo put this out, yeah, I know. When Argo put this ship out, if you guys have ever walked around this thing, it is amazing. The design on this ship is unbelievable. Nakara, any thoughts on the mole?
Basically what you said. I love the design. It's a gorgeous ship. I love the orange. I love the idea of the social mining. Is still keeping in the same gameplay mechanic, because the Orion's mining mechanic is totally different.
Whole another world.
Whole other world from the current implementation of mining. I just thought it was a beautiful implementation of social mining.
Kimmy, you've talked about it's great to have a ship like this, but people have to also think about not only the cost of the ship, but you've mentioned about tricking it out, right? You talked about pimping out your vehicle. What is it going to take to trick out this thing when you want to put like the best laser, the best this, or the, what do they call those things you put in there? The, come on, help me out, chat. What's the thing you put in there to help you when you're mining? Not the laser heads, but those other things that they give you now, that you buy. Come on, chat. I know somebody in there knows what I'm talking about. Those little things you buy them in there. They make it so that your laser won't cut as fast or it cuts slower. Consumables. Thank you, Severance. The consumables. You got to buy consumables. You got to buy 3 heads. I mean, the best head on this sucker is over 100,000 SCU. Yeah. Right? Or CCU or whatever. ACU. UEC. Sorry. Get all my numbers mixed up. What do you think, Kimmy? Is it going to be an investment to run a ship like this?
It's definitely going to be an investment, but it's about planning as well, because they placed it in game, and for those who are prepared will actually profit. And with that said, when you run into high level bits and pieces of minerals or veins, once we get the economy system going, you have to be prepared. So it will pay for itself once you're able to find those minables that are higher valuable count. And so, yeah, it's all about being prepared. It's not whether you're going to do it or not, or it doesn't matter. There's going to be someone out there who's going to be ready and ready to go to make the money. Then you look over at them and say, wait a minute, you made how much? How much? Wait a minute, who does this? You have to prepare. So it's about the investment. It's about strategizing. So for those, especially with orgs who are mining centric, that's all on their hit list. That's on bucket list or top tier choice. It's all about getting the materials and being prepared and getting ready to really take advantage of those opportunities once you find these minables out there. So yeah, it's an investment, but it's a worthwhile one.
Okay, fair enough. Gigi, I know you don't own one, but you said you'd be willing to work on one. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Because you said the mining laser is your thing that you like doing.
Yeah, I would definitely be a laser operator. Maybe later on down the line, I would consider owning one once things were a little more fleshed out and I felt like it was a viable purchase. Okay. Because I do plan to have one. I do plan to have an Orion, but I'm just not willing to buy something that I probably won't have in my hands for a few years. Okay. And as far as the mole, I don't know right now that I have enough people to man one. So I don't know that it would be a worthwhile purchase for me, but I would absolutely be a laser operator, yeah.
All right, chat. Y'all heard that. Gigi's looking for hard-working labor, so there you go. Just contact her. Let her know. She'll put
laser operators and a co-pilot.
Just make sure you know how to aim and don't blow up stuff. I'm sure that should be fine.
Listen, we need a pilot, 2 laser operators, and a co-pilot, because I'm not flying it. So be clear. It's my ship. I'm not flying it.
All right.
One of y'all got to be able to fly.
All right. We're going to go to the granddaddy here. Nakara, you touched on this a little bit. I'm going to let you speak about it a little bit because you said that the mining on this is an entirely different world. Could you elaborate on the Orion
universe? So,
Wow.
probably one of my favorite ships in Star Citizen right here. The Orion is a beast. So this mines in a completely different fashion from our current mining. So you're talking about using what they call the RMAP missiles to fracture asteroids.
Oh wow.
And then that giant like maw at the front of it basically crushes up the pieces of asteroids. You use a tractor beam to pull them in. And it basically ingests pieces of asteroids into it and then stores it in the giant containers on the back. It's basically a space whale, a mechanical space whale that eats asteroids. Coolest job on this ship is going to be the missile operator. It's apparently, based on what Tony Zervak said, you need to be very good at the job.
Yep.
Have to perfectly target the right spot on the asteroid to fracture it properly to avoid losing material. And to avoid just causing a catastrophic explosion that blows up the Orion as well as the asteroid.
Yeah. Okay.
And the crew.
And the crew. This is the first ship, I believe, that was in Star Citizen that unequivocally cannot land. Period. It has no landing legs. Its design is completely divorced from the idea of being able to land.
Yeah.
So it is a space only vehicle, but as you can see, it has an enormous capability for mining. It has huge cargo pods, and it has an onboard refinery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
The refinery was
amazing
my big thing for it.
design. Yeah, absolutely.
Kimmy, one of the things that impressed me about this ship, or the impression I got from this ship, I should say, and Nakara touched on it a little bit. This is the ship that, to me, everybody needs to be good at what they do. This is not the rookie ship. They talked about the fact that the pilot will have to be able to manage the size, because as you know, this thing is a beast. It is huge. It is one of the largest ships in the game. So the aspect of navigation, the aspect of if there's an emergency, such as you're under attack, or as Nakara said, maybe there's a fracture that might erupt, that pilot's got to know how to get away. There's also somebody, if I'm remembering correctly, Nakara, correct me if I'm wrong, who is someone who analyzes the rocks themselves.
Yep.
I mean, everybody, there's like 5 people, and all of them have these roles that are all crucial. This is not a one-person operation.
So yeah, there's like a scanner operator, and their job is to scan the asteroids, right, and to find the right spot for the missile operator to hit. The missile operator actually remotely operates the missile, so we'll fly the missile in. Amazing ship. It's going to be a lot of teamwork. It actually isn't a lot more crew than the Mole. I think it's 5. But each one of them is a lot more responsible for making sure everything goes right.
So Kitty,
this is one of those ships.
Go ahead, Gigi. Go ahead.
This is one of those ships where I'm glad that rep will be coming into the game, because you're gonna need a worthwhile reputation to get a job on an Orion.
Yeah.
Because if you suck at what you're doing, you're gonna kill everybody, and no one's gonna make any money.
So true. And you were touching on it, Griffin, but you're gonna need an amazing pilot. You got to be able to like dance through a freaking asteroid field with a gigantic ship and not get hit.
Physics is going to be an issue.
Yeah. Kimmy, this ship has a lot of going on it, right? It's got the refinery, it's got the lasers, it's got the missiles, but there's also the dynamic that this is would this be considered like deep space? In other words, when this isn't something you just go check out for a half hour, right? When you go out in an Orion, you're going out there, right? I mean, this is like,
oh, no question.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about that? What that means? Yeah.
I mean, casual gamers need not apply. When you see this shit, I'm serious. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. This ship is designed for the people who are what we see of the Endeavor. This is the industrial answer to that. On this gaming play level, you serve this niche of certain gamers who say, I am totally 100% unequivocally in on this gameplay, and by no means I will be the best. I will be the best, and I have a crew who will serve me, follow under my guidance, and we will freaking get it done. When you're talking about mining, we look to be at the top of the food chain. We are the quintessential go-tos in this regard of this gameplay mechanic. So with that said, our operations will not have anything to do with dealing with the casual things in game. This is strictly who we are. This is where we are, 100% unequivocally mining on this level. And and great point to Gigi to say that when you look at Orion, you look at mining on this level, you will see that org's name right there. You'll look in the lore, and they are there. That reputation, 5-star, high marks, top of the food chain, period. Okay. And so
your resume is going to have to be impeccable to get a job.
You're going to be the best of the best, and you're going to have a top 10, of course, right? You're going to have a top 10 of those guys, and there lies the gameplay within that, the competition within that. But yeah, you're going to be, this is where the Carrack will probably pass this ship going by it, and it's like, oh my God, look at that! They're just, wow, they're really working those asteroids.
Right. Yeah. Me zooming by in my little Prospector, taking a video, like, holy crap, you guys, I just flew by an Orion.
and at some point, SIG will have to address this style of gameplay. If not, they're going to come after SIG seriously in regards to why the hell can I not spawn on this ship? Me and my crew. This is a dedicated, if this is a dedicated mining ship, I need to spawn. I don't care about homesteads, habs, etc. I'm spawning here, and when I decide to come back, then because of persistence, I come back. Period. It's going to be that different level, that different niche of player with this type of ship. But yet, when it comes down to the economics, they're at the top.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm glad you mentioned that too about the Endeavor. I know Nakara referenced that earlier, and we're going to talk about that because there are these ships, what I would call deep space ships, right? When you go out in them, they're designed to be out there, and so it'll be really interesting to see how CIG sets up this thing with despawning. I've had people say, "Oh, if I see an Orion, I'm going to blow one up."
LOL. No. Good luck with that.
Go read the specs on an Orion, guys. Their drones alone will smash you. I guarantee you're not going to just take out an Orion. And the other issue will be, what's the purpose of taking out an Orion? That's a whole nother factor too. When you start talking about taking out a cap ship like this, you better bring everybody. That's all I'm gonna tell you, because it's not going to be an easy takedown to take down something like an Orion.
I mean, also, I don't imagine anyone's going to go out with an Orion and not have like protection with them. They're gonna they're gonna pay people to come out and flank them and protect them and keep eyes out and make sure that nobody's running up to beat on a ship they can't beat up in the first place.
You're talking about going out in Orion and probably making, if you have a successful run,
a
couple million credits in like one run.
That's right, Nakara.
Per crew member, probably.
Legit.
And so you're going to be probably spending a couple 100,000 credits just on protection. Like anybody, what? I need 5 Hornets. Come with me.
Yep.
What do you charge? Yeah, what do you charge? I want the best of the best.
What do you charge? I need a 5 Hornet team to come and make sure nobody messes with my Orion while we're out mining.
Yes. These won't be game players. These will be role
and be
players,
more than happy to give them the 250,000 credits because we're gonna go make what, like
exactly
5 million per crewmate at 5 crewmates. So everybody could take the 50K AUEC hit to make sure they make their money that day.
Yep. New category, Star Citizens of the Black.
Well, all I'm going to say is give me a few of those seismic charges that Boba Fett drops. That's all I need.
Yes, honey.
That's all I need.
Yes, honey.
Just give me
a few
of those seismic charges, okay?
Oh, my God.
All right, let's move on here. Let's go to our next one. Okay. I'm actually excited about this. Now, a lot of people are not excited about this ship. I am. I've always been. This was our first big baby that we got from CIG. I remember we always joke around, Kimmy and I, Nakara, joke around about this all the time, but we remember the day when you would spawn a Starfarer and crash out the servers at Port Olisar, right? Remember that?
Done. Log back in.
Somebody spawned a
Starfare and your whole server
in.
crashes, right? So
that was 30K before 30K.
Exactly. So the Starfare and its big brother or little brother or twin brother, the Gemini. We can talk about both these ships if we want, because the Gemini is right after this one. We just got in 3.12 our gas clouds. Our cloud tech is coming in, and we see that that's a precursor to the possibility of being able to do some type of operations with the Starfare within gaseous clouds. Let me throw this at you, Nakara. It's a loop question. We were really excited about the Starfare when it first came out. People were running around in it, getting lost in it. Does it need a rework? Does it need some work done on the interior, or is it just a matter of people just have to get used to it because it's just kind of weird? CIG did a whole big thing about wanting to make it so that people could do some type of PvP with inside of it. Is it functional the way it is now before they even get into this mechanic of being able to dispense fuel or be able to do some type of cloud tech?
I think it's functional in its current capacity, but it would not surprise me at all to see them do a once-over on the interior. I think the exterior is probably fine. Love this ship. I'm not even sure why, but it's just such a cool idea having a space tanker. And one that actually can, similar to we were looking at the SRV there and how it can dip into combat situations. You see its brother here, the Starfare's brother, the Gemini. It can also dip its nose into combat situations, refuel ships that are low, and get the heck out of there. But I am very curious to see what they do with it. Like how much of a space of a gas mining role they're going to build in for it, when it's going to come in, and now that we have the assets in the game, not currently usable, but they're in there. Yeah, very curious.
Kimmy, are these ships, for lack of a better term, going to be targets? Are they vulnerable, or will people see these as a point of commerce? And so therefore, in general, like, we've talked about this, like the Hull C, for example. We know the Hull C is going to be one of the most popular ships that we see in the game. Is it going to be a target? Or will it only be targeted to certain people? Because, like, for me, if I see a Starfare, I'm not thinking about attacking it. I'm figuring, okay, it's, somebody's doing their job. Is this a pirate kind of thing? Or do you think people will just target it because they want to see a big explosion, if for no other reason? What do you think the scoop's going to be with this ship as far as safety and flying around with it?
That's interesting, because in itself, you're going to have those one or twos of, well, I'm just flying around, I need PvP, I don't have it. Well, there's a target. But then when we build out what the game is going to be like, and you talking about now that Montreal, Canada is incorporated into the equation of creating these planets, systems, moons, worlds. Now you're talking about, yeah, we'll get those spaces and we'll be able to traverse here and there currently. But then all of a sudden there's going to be this light switch that comes on, and then people are like, wait a minute, the hell you mean I can't jump from here to there now because I'm out of fuel? What's the going on? Then out of the blue comes your Starfarer, and then all of a sudden that value of what it was, where it was just a target, becomes a thing of an asset and the value, because now it's like, oh, Starfare, almighty Starfare, please come save me. Allow me to leave this system, please. I'm stuck. And so when you see value, you're gonna consider that in regards to just trollish behavior, because they can keep that on their marker and said, who was that destroyed us? And then it's like, you maybe be in their reputation system and say, this person, that person in particular, they're trollish. Don't serve them any fuel. Okay. Take them out to dry.
Okay, fair enough. GG, let me ask you a question at this, and I know you say you're a support person, but I've never heard you talk about this ship. And I want to go on something that Kimmy said, and something the CIG said a couple weeks ago. They talked about the fact that they're going to start spacing out these fuel stations, like these different stops, right? That there will be some systems where there may not be a fueling station. In other words, you may not even be able to get across it. You may run short. Would you be willing to work on one of these ships as an escort because there's a group of people that have to get somewhere, and there's no fueling station. The only way to get where we got to go is to refuel while we're in process. Is that something you would do as a support system, work on a ship like this, or do that? Or are you not, nah, that's too much. You ain't trying to get that greasy gasoline odor in your hair. What's the scoop with that?
Do you see these curls? These curls are not made for gear oil and gasoline, okay? No, it's not really my kind of thing. I like the Starfarer. I think I would probably work on a Gemini more than just version. A Starfarer, because I would exactly, and I would like to be able to shoot at people.
Okay. Yeah, that size 5 at the top of this sucker ain't no joke. That gun up there, if you get hit by a Starfarer or Gemini gun, you're gonna get hurt.
Exactly. You know, you run up on that Gemini, you realize real fast, oh snap, that ain't a regular Starfarer. Darn it. Like
yeah.
Okay. Now this ship is also
one.
Yeah, really. Now this ship, the other thing about this ship is that it does not just carry fuel. They've talked about this ship being also related to cargo. So who knows what other what else? It carries its own internal cargo bay, and maybe there's a place where you've got to deliver something as simple as water, right, or some other form of gaseous liquid, some liquid, whatever it is. Maybe it's milk from that space cow. Who knows what it's going to be? But it's a point of commerce, is my point. And this ship, let me tell you something. If you haven't flown one of these, gang, for those of you who haven't flown one, it is a beast to fly.
Yes.
This thing, I'm telling you, when I say it's a beast, I've shared the story before. I was coming to one of the Lagrange points, one of those L1 or L2s one time. I tried to put on the brakes. I skidded 10 kilometers before that sucker finally came to a stop. Listen, this thing and a Prospector drift. I don't know what it is about the mist ships, but these babies drift. So just be aware of that. If you're going through an asteroid field in this bad fella, make sure you give yourself plenty of time or you might blow yourself up. Okay. All right. Let's jump on over to this. This next category. And we started touching on this a little bit. Nakara. There's some irony about this ship because it looks like a ship in another game. Are you aware of which game that is and what that ship is?
I was at the time it came out.
Yeah, the Vulture. The Vulture was done as an ode to a ship in Eve.
Yes, yes. Very, very similar look.
Very similar look. But what do you think about this design? And by the way, for those of you who saw it, and I'm sure Nakara, you saw that commercial that the guy put out on Drake Interplanetary during IAE, right? Did you get to see that commercial that the guy did with all the Drake ships? He showed a lot of the ships in CIG. Did you ever get to see that? It was literally the day before Drake went on, or the day Drake went out. It was a fan-made film.
I think I might have.
The reason why I'm asking is that guy showed how this thing operated. He had it where the lasers in the front opened up and they were the tractor beam and they were cutting into a ship. So I thought it was very cool. Oh yeah, it was very cool. If you guys haven't seen, I'll try to find the link. Fast Card, I know you're here. If you can pull the link for that and drop it in chat for everybody. It was an awesome video. One-man operation. Are we seeing this as entry level into salvage, Nakara? Is that where we are with this one?
For sure. I mean, beyond the guy out in the hull with his freaking beam, like, this is your entry level, and it's going to be a weird one. I expect it'll probably come online about the same time as salvage comes in. But then all of a sudden you have, unlike some of the other game mechanics, you're going to have 2 ships right away that are salvage ships, because the Reclaimer's been in for a while. And I think that makes it a little bit awkward actually for CIG, because they're going to have something for both of them to do, because they're not going to be doing the same thing, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
But very cool little ship. I'm interested in salvage, but I'm a little not as gung-ho as I am about mining, so I'm curious to watch and see how it's going to work. I think it's going to be a deep enough system that I'm going to get into it, because CIG seems to be building some pretty serious gameplay systems. So,
okay, Kimmy, can you talk about why we haven't seen salvage yet? What's this issue? Why does this tie into the whole iCache thing? What is this? Why can't we go out and find thousands of pieces of stuff and salvage it? Can you kind of explain that to everybody? What's going on with that?
Yes. In order, like, for example, let's say we have, this is how plays out. Let's say you have the vulture. Now, what you're going to need, how are you going to build the gameplay around this? This is how. You're going to have space graveyards, ship graveyards floating in space that has to be there, that have to exist. You have to go there. You have to be able to tear them down, tear them apart, break them down, do some sort of scanning to see percentages and impurities of metals. Then you would have to be able to get out, travel, go through the wreckage and look for other things as well. That's like components. They have to be in the system. They have to stay in the system. Inventory caching will basically say these assets exist and they will stay there until a certain number are removed. Outside of that, then SIG can also place them elsewhere and say, here's another chain or amount of these salvageable components. That meaning they're components, they're electronics, they're blades, server blades. You can find all these things. And so in order for that to happen, inventory caching has to be a thing. It has to exist to keep those assets out there. But then in order to find it amongst these different systems, you need the server meshing to come in as well. And the server has to support all of this. So in other words, it should be hundreds, if not thousands of space graveyards and wreckage. And also, when there's PvP of large capital ships or organizations that fight and they destroy each other and they have to, or they get carted away with the Apollos and all those things, and there lies the junk, the carnage is still there. And you get a report of a space battle from the news van and say, hey, look what's going on out here. There was a huge battle. You get in that vulture and fly to that location and it's still there. It still exists until you take it all. And so that's what we need in order to make the salvage mechanic a real and true thing. Outside of that, you're just flying a ship.
Thank you.
And then just have those mechanics to work as well. That's another thing that they have to add into the game mechanics as well.
Thanks, Ken. Perfect. So, and we want everybody to understand that because, you know, the Reclaimer is one of those ships that has been out for quite a while, the Vulture. But it keeps saying, well, you know, why aren't we able to use them? And as Kimmy explained very well, the game has to be able to track not only hundreds, but thousands and thousands of items, and iCache is one of the ways that that's being done. Right now, the components on your ship, even though they act in an active way, there's still not all these individualized items yet. And they want us to be able to look at that scanner that you want to pull from a ship, or that shield generator that you want to pull from the ship. All of those items have to be tracked. And if you're going to start salvaging, like Kimmy said, it's not just pulling those components, it's pulling the different types of metal. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff involved in that, and the tech just isn't there yet. So this is something for people who want to do this career. When I was in EVE, I used to salvage like crazy. I loved doing salvage. So this is definitely a career that I've got a Reclaimer and a Vulture, so I'm definitely into this one. Gigi, what's the vote? Yay or nay towards salvage?
Yay. But like Nakara said, I am thoroughly less excited about it than mining. But it probably will become something that I do just because nobody wants to be one-dimensional, and you want to expand yourself and become good at a myriad of different things so that your reputation can go up and you can be called on for a myriad of different things. But doesn't mean I'm going to be out there in a Vulture the same way I would be with my Prospector.
Right. And Colossal, you're absolutely right. I do agree with you. No, the tech, I believe that the salvage tech is there. I'm referring more to the iCache tech, but I don't think salvaging is the issue. So thank you for mentioning that. I think the issue is definitely tracking all of these items and the whole getting iCache stable. I think that's the thing. Nakara,
it rose back up into the economy system
we need
as well.
Persistence. Until there's iCache and persistence, salvage will not be a thing.
Yeah. Nakara, are you going to say something? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say that as a miner, if I just happen to notice there's a giant space battle right over my head, I will gladly a Prospector and go pick up my Vulture and go rip apart those spaceships. I'm not gonna look a gold mine in them. The
mouth.
Exactly. Like money is money, right?
Yes. Yes.
I like that.
Money is money.
I'm not gonna look a good gold mine in the mouth. It's funny. Yeah, I like that. Okay.
Look, if I'm just hovering around Crusader and I see something that's just recently been blown to bits, well, I'm gonna go to Port O, grab my Vulture, and come back and get it.
Yep.
But I don't know that I would go out looking for things to salvage as much as it would just be a happenstance.
I hear you.
If Tony Z was sitting here, he would say the most important thing to those items that tie into iCache, inventory cache, is the fact that it's going to roll back up into the economy, which will count as money made, economy taxes being taken from those items by the UEE, United Earth Empire. So which will feed into the military ships. So it's a rolling and constantly moving organic flow of the economic system, which will be with the quanta and the quantum system from Tony Z. It's really important.
Cool. All right, we're going to go to the granddaddy on this one. I got to talk about this ship, the Reclaimer. Yeah, for anyone
Let's
who
give a hand for the beast.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who has walked next to one of these things,
Sigourney Weaver.
There is something about walking next to this ship that makes you say, how do they do this? You know, how do they do this tech?
Oh my God.
And I want to encourage everybody. I know this is going to sound like just so, but I have to say it. Don't miss. In the midst of all the gameplay of Star Citizen, don't miss and don't not take the time to look at the hard work that's been put into this game. Sometimes it's so easy to run from one location to another, to run here, run there. And we really run past all the hard labor that the artists of this game have put into it. The Reclaimer is one of those ships. When I look at it from the outside,
I have to call a lie on that, because as much as I love Star Citizen, there is not all that much to do besides drive around and look at pretty things. So don't tell me that we are not
that's all you do.
enjoying the artwork
not
of the
you.
game.
Not you. I'm just saying, I know there are people who I have mentioned things to, and they say, I never saw that, because they just didn't, like I said, because it's so easy to run from here and there in the game. And I know there are people that do appreciate and do see a lot of the beauty that's in the game. I mean, the first time we all flew into Microtech, we just kind of, your jaw just kind of drops, and you're like, wow, this is amazing, This ship, and the reason why I was...
Or at night.
Or Arcorp, at night. The reason why I was tying that in is because of something that happened to me. Earlier this year, I did a rebuild on my computer, and the last computer I had was a pretty decent one with a 1070 card in it. When I by chance, logged out in my Reclaimer in space. When I built the new computer and came back in, I had forgotten that I was in the Reclaimer. So when I woke up in the Reclaimer. I saw stuff in that ship that I had never seen before. I mean, just all types of stuff that popped up in the ship. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize all this detail was in here. And yes, true enough, it was because the graphics card allowed me to see it. But my point is that they put a lot of work into some of these ships. And I'm not trying to tell you all to go out and buy a new 3080 card. Right, Kimmy? We're not telling people to do that right now.
But I don't have a 38. I don't have a 38.
But I said we're not telling people. I said we're not telling people not to do it. But my point is, this ship is one of those ships that, to me, when I look at it, I'm just kind of amazed at all the hard work they put in it. Kim, you said it earlier. You mentioned Sigourney Weaver and Alien. You're right. I've put on the music, the soundtrack to Alien, and walked around on the ship and freaked myself out.
Don't do that.
It's an ode. It's definitely an ode. It's definitely
nightmares,
an ode
man. Nightmares.
to it.
Oh my God.
I gotta give.
Go ahead, Nakara.
Sorry, I'll be very quick.
No, take your time.
I just want to give huge props to the guys and gals who made this ship at CIG.
Yes.
Because, man, you managed to make a salvage ship probably the scariest ship in the game.
Yeah.
The thing is freaking terrifying every time you see one.
Space creatures. Oh my God.
Nah, the Prowler attacks with me. I don't like the fact that it looks like a bird of prey.
I will not play this game.
And then can just kind of drop silently behind you and deploy people to murder you.
As much as I'm in the game,
no for me.
As much as I'm in the game, I will not be playing this on the week of Halloween. No. When we get space creatures, dude, that's not happening. But again, to y'all's point about some of the negativity that pops up, what hurts me to the heart what I do see in some people, or a few, that there's this thing where they don't have their particular ship or their particular item in the game, so everything else is ignored, and the narrative becomes they're not doing what they're supposed to do. This is ridiculous, and they stick on one aspect of the game and refuse to look at all the other aspects of the gameplay and the graphics and the interactions. And that hurts me to the heart to say that you're going to base this off of one thing and trash everything else. I'm like, come on, man.
And
come on,
while
They're
that's
frustrated. They're
probably
frustrated.
not
That's all.
the best thing to do, I get it, because it's the same idea where if you go to a restaurant and you order and you sit down and then somebody else comes in and they order and then they get their food and walk out, you're like, excuse you, I was here for 20 extra minutes. Where's my food?
Yep.
So like, I get why they're angry. I get why they're not really seeing the logic, because they're like, dude, where are the things that I've paid you for?
Yeah. Because there are some careers that have happened faster than others. Some careers have not even been
and then
touched
there's a lot
on,
that they
haven't even been touched on yet.
They can't. The gameplay that they want to do is not even available, like, at all.
Great
you know what I mean? Like,
point.
I'd
That's
be mad
exactly
too.
what I was thinking. Great point.
Yeah. We're gonna sit in the car.
I was just gonna say the only thing I would mention about that analogy is they're walking up to a restaurant that's currently under construction.
Yeah, but at the same time, the restaurant is open and asking you for money.
Of opening.
But the restaurant's open and saying we are serving and give us your money. So it's not.
Of opening.
You can't be mad. Like, it is what it is. If they're mad, they're mad, and you just have to let them be mad.
Yeah. It's like Baker Square for me. I want a piece of French silk, and I go in there and say, we don't have any French silk, but you can have some.
And they don't got French silk. You're like, well, fine. I guess I'll get a piece of pie, but this ain't what I wanted.
Yeah. Or you get the ship, and then you're flying around in the ship. You finally get the ship right off the bat, and you're happy because your ship came in. And then you complain again and say, I don't have the game mechanics. What about the game mechanics?
Yeah, it's always going to be something. A quick question to everybody. Gigi, are you big on flying big ships, or you stay away from flying big ships?
I stay far, far away from anything bigger than midsize.
Okay, Kimmy, what about you? Are you cool with big ships, or do you kind of stay away from them?
To Nakara's point, the craftsmanship that went into the reclaimer, and I saw one in the past, and most recently on the hangar, and I'm still in awe of it. No, man, I can't do that.
That's cool. That's fine.
I mean, with the situations
that's fine.
that appear and happen, and I'm scrambling. I'm getting hits from either side. I'm hearing it, and I'm scrambling to say, "Oh, damn, where's the damn pilot seat at? I forgot. Where is? Oh God, where did it go?"
No problem.
Again, it's one of those things where if it's a single seat ship, it's it's
You're
easy.
more comfortable. I got you.
But ooh.
Okay, Nakara, what about you? Are you a big ship person, or now you stay away from them?
I tend to stay away from them, but mostly that's because my nature is that I tend to, and I fully realize that I'm playing Star Citizen, but I tend to be more solo in even in MMOs. I prefer I mostly operate by myself, but when my friends are online, I'll go and hang out with them maybe. But most of the time I'm playing by myself. I'm always running this huge ship. But I would be open to being a pilot on one.
Okay.
I'd be curious.
Well, this ship, and I'm going to move on past the ship, but I do want to say something I just thought about. This ship has multiple positions. If you guys have ever been inside of it, you've got a pilot, co-pilot, then there are two people behind them. I think that one controls the claw or scanner. Then you go back in the back, the claw, and then you go back in the back. There's another 4-position monitor station back in that middle section. Then there are the drone operators. Then there are the people who run the incinerator that chews up and garbages and stuff. And then you've got the cargo reclaiming area. I don't know how many people.
There's drone operators. There's a lot going on.
Yeah. This is an RSA Orion level ship.
Yeah.
The same exact everything Kemi was saying about the Orion. That's what it's the reclaimers right there with it.
Yeah.
You're gonna live and breathe that freaking ship.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Alrighty then. All right. Let's
wow.
Let's move on to one that is
I gotta bring this up because he's my buddy Eris over at the Relay Station. Years ago, wrote a couple pieces of fan fiction for Star Citizen in which a crazed woman who is captaining a reclaimer would go around and murder people by crushing their ships while they're still inside, and it was a spectacular story.
Wow, that's crazy. We'll have to ask him to maybe hear that. I'd be really kind of curious to hear that.
Great.
That is kind of wild. Scuba Steve, thank you for the host. We appreciate that, buddy. Always good to see you. Okay, so let's step up the gears here. For those of you who have the deep pockets, let's talk about the Drake Kraken.
Oh my gosh.
Privateer. We have just went to a whole nother
CitizenCon 2018.
Well, our very own Unique has a Kraken with the ability to upgrade to the privateer.
Right.
And he plans for it to be a good portion of his gameplay is to just homestead wherever he wants and never really come down.
Yeah.
Okay. Kimmy, the Drake Kraken, when we saw it, as you mentioned, we saw it in 2018. Everybody saw the commercial and thought it was the coolest thing, supporting a prospector out there. That's pretty cool when you can have a freaking Kraken as your support when you're out there with your prospector, okay? So here's my question. Is this a deep space item, Kimmy? Is this like Gigi just said? Is this something that you go out there and it becomes literally colossal? Thank you for the 3-month Prime subscription. Thank you so much. Is this one of those ships that you go out there with your crew and you stay out there? And the reason why I'm asking, because here's the difficulty I have with the Kraken, and maybe you can address this. It's nice that you can have a bunch of people on it. It's nice that you can have 5, 6, 7 different ships on it, right?
Yes.
But if I come out and visit you and you out in space, if I go to sleep in my bed and my ship's on your ship, what happens to it? I'm still kind of trying to figure that out when it's other people's ships. I don't know.
You're trying to figure it out. Think about what CIG is.
It's going to happen with iCache. You're going to be inventory caching. You will be able to do this.
No, but my question is, will it?
You'll be able to do this.
When iCache is in, does my ship stay there, or I'm just because like if you don't log back in the game, I wake up on whatever the last place was I was at, right? But my ship technically is still on your Kraken. I'm wondering, is that going to be something that they're going to have to work out where they say, well, you can pay a certain amount of money and you can spawn it where you're at? Or if, I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how they're going to work all that out when it's other people's ships. If it's your ships, I get it. But if it's other people's ships, any thoughts on that, on what they could do?
Yeah, it was kind of like, with that said about that particular ship, you should have certain rights or a certain number. Within a certain number, it's going to be a container in itself. So with that said, because it's that type of ship that it's going to be a spacefaring type of ship, I think you should be able to spawn in or have the rights to spawn back into that ship, regardless of who the owner is. As an organization, when you tie that into organization, maybe guild,
right? Relationships will help with what you're saying. Okay.
Yes, but at the end of the day, it's about organizing and how you do things and having that capability to do that. So yeah, it might be some rights that you may have to go through or some hoops that you have to go through in order to make that happen. But with iCache, those possibilities will open up. But I do see it as this type of ship. And these other high-level industrial ships that we're seeing now, we're kind of seeing this progression of these high-level ships. By all means, you have that right. You've earned that right just by the cost of it to be able to spawn on these ships and remain on these ships as a professional organization. To do that, I think it's all tied into guild/organization. But once we get that foundational tech that will allow that, then it comes down to the organization and having those certain rights.
Permissions. Gotcha.
I honestly feel like they're gonna make you work for it. I feel like they're gonna give maybe the Kraken owner the ability to like release your ship back to you, or
good
you
point.
gotta go get it. Don't get on a Kraken with somebody you don't trust, because if they don't decide to release your ship to you, you gotta go find them and get it. Or you gotta do an insurance claim, and now it's not the upgraded version that you've done all the nice stuff to. You got a basic ship and you starting from scratch.
And to Gigi's
Because
point,
that would be what would happen. It would be the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, you have to go get it from that person who doesn't want to give it back to you. That's going to be the same instance.
Why not?
There is also the least chance that the Kraken might be one of the large ships that as Shiver mentioned in chat, that never despawns.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Yep. Okay.
Although you gotta start to really worry about that as CIG in terms of server management.
Yeah. So, and to that point, Nakara, let me ask you this: this is also one of the most expensive ships in the game. I mean, it's next to the Javelin, right? When you talk about the Privateer and the Kraken, they cost more than an Idris, right? These are pretty expensive ships. And they're Drakes. I think Colossal has the quote, live on a Drake, die on a Drake, is his attitude about these ships. Is this thing as tough as we want it to be? I mean, we see it as a carrier, but we also, really but I mean, it's not an Idris. You know, it's not an Idris. It's if we go by lore, is this a tough cookie to crack as far as the ship goes, or is it just tough because if this thing is fully manned with ships and guns, it becomes tough to deal with? Bone Grizz 97, thank you for the follow. Risto Square, thank you for the follow, and the Colossal again, thank you for the subscription. What do you think, Nakara?
You're looking at size 8 turrets on this sucker.
Holy moly!
She's gonna be a tough nut to crack. There's one size 8 turret, 4 size 6 turrets, and 4 size 5 turrets. Good luck.
Yeah,
I was gonna say good luck with that.
Yeah, that's a lot of firepower.
It's like that scene from Taken. Good luck.
Yeah, that's a lot.
One of the questions that was posed to John Crew, from that commercial where it actually it rammed, it became a battering ram through another ship, and John Crew entertained that and answered and said, to some degree, yes, it will be able to ram another ship and cause extensive damage. Yes.
Okay.
Versus the Perseus. Yes.
All right. So let me go to its brother, the Privateer. Same type of ship, but the emphasis changes. The emphasis changes toward trade, right? It's got shops in it. You can have NPCs run it. It has 2 stores in there that are quote unquote secret stores, right? Where you can have your more private or smugly black market things going on in it. It loses some space for things such as the bikes and everything to be able to have those stores. Nakara, there was a little bit of concern with this ship because people had kept thinking Banu Merchantman, that's going to be the flagship trade ship. Then this thing comes out. At the time, the Banu Merchantman came out at $250. This thing came out at like $1,500, $1,600, or $1,700, right? They just told us recently that the cargo size on the Banu Merchantman will remain the same. They're not going to reduce it. But what's happening with this disparity between a ship that now, I think the Banu's now $350? Is that right? Anybody remember in chat? It's
I
like
can tell you right now, when the Banu Merchantman comes back and it's done, it's going to be a lot more than $350.
Okay, but my question is this price disparity. That's still almost $1,500 difference in price. How can CIG? What are they going to do to make each one of those ships worth their value? Because, you know, I mean, don't get me wrong. I get the fact that the Privateer can land ships and it's got the landing decks and all that stuff. But still, $1,500 for 2 ships to do almost the same thing.
Yeah, but the Privateer, you buy us some land and you have a home now.
Yeah.
It's not quite the same thing. You know, you can set that down on land you bought and then just be there.
Okay.
That's a really cool point. So the Kraken has much more of a floating, like, mobile space station vibe to me. I think it's much more capable than the Merchantman. It has a lot more firepower than the Merchantman. Even though the Merchantman does have that gigantic main gun, it really doesn't have a lot besides that.
Which is why it needs the Defender.
Which is why it needs the Defender, yeah. And So honestly, the price disparity makes sense. I do expect the merchantman when it comes back to be much more expensive, and I think its low price was simply an artifact of when it was originally released into concept. I really liked Scuba Steve's comment earlier that the privateer is the floating Walmart. I kind of think that you're looking at very different crowds too. I don't think a lot of legit traders are going to a Kraken privateer, because I think you're going to run into an unsavory crowd when you're there. I think that you're going to have, but it's an absolute godsend for pirates who, they can't go to most green zone planets and stations because they're just not allowed to go there. They have these privateers out there where they can go and trade and refuel and get the stuff that they need. So I think it's very much going to be a cultural difference. I'll put it that way.
Like, okay. Griff, you're not gonna traipse off down the double staircase of your 890J and then go to a Kraken.
Here we go.
You're not going to do that. You're going to go to the merchantman because that's you, and you're going to have your monocle on and your top hat with your gold armor. And I'm going to be like, why?
Oh,
but okay.
Okay. All right. All right. On that note, let's move on from the $2,000. Thank you, by the way, Darkness Muta and Fast Card, $450 for the Banu. So there is a $1,500 difference between that Kraken privateer. Oh, by the way, I forgot to ask: do any of you own a privateer or a Kraken?
I want one.
Okay. Frosty K4077, thank you.
Hello, you for the idea that I would spend double a mortgage payment on a JPEG ship is legitimately hilarious. You could buy a car with $1,500.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay. Pytho says he is a privateer. Can't wait to make sweet space love to it. Awesome. Okay. All right. We're going to change up the category here. This is a ship that I was surprised. I shared this with our cast earlier. I was totally surprised that this fell into the category of industrial. But as I mentioned earlier, CIG designates science as industrial. And the Reliant Sin is that ship. I owned a Reliant Core at one point. I got rid of that, and I actually bought a Sin. And I bought it because of the fact that even though I have a 315P for exploration, I kind of wanted something that had to do something with science and being able to scan. We don't have that tech in there yet. Excuse me. But Nakara, just real quick, I'll start with you. Reliant Sin, Reliance, they've got these 4 ships. The Corée, I said core. Corée is the right pronunciation. I'm sorry.
Is it? I never knew that.
And then, yes, I see on the CIG commercial, when they rebuilt the ships, the announcer calls it the Corée. And so we've got the Corée, we've got the Sin for the science ship. Have you been on one of these? Have you flown it? What's the practical aspects of this?
I don't have a Sen. We pretty much all of us over at Relay have the news van version of the Reliant.
The Mako.
For the obvious use eventually of harassing people and reporting on their misdeeds. But I really love the idea of this ship. It's a near starter ship for the scientists out there. Obviously, the Reliant is a really cool little ship with its transforming abilities. Obviously, you're going to want to work up from this ship, but as a one-person starter science ship, it's pretty damn cool.
Okay, cool. Kimmy, do you think they'll fill in the gap? I mean, you've got this, and then you've got the Endeavor, but there really isn't a medium science ship. I mean, we could kind of maybe lean the Carrack a little bit, but that's more science exploration. But I mean, in the area of dedicated science, do you think that they'll end up coming up with a medium ship that kind of fills that gap?
I think that can definitely happen. Now that we know that, I'm going to say it again, Benoit Beaujolais over in Montreal, Canada, is going to really grab hold of the planetary tech and then just take it to new levels. So with that said, space is going to get really, really big in that regard. So now we're talking about filling out the systems with artifacts, chemicals, gases, alien ancient artifacts. So that will fall under the category of sciences and things that they scan for, that's or anomalies that could be categorized and cataloged, that will have some applied science use that could transform into industrial benefits for the game. So yes, I do see that in that regard on various levels, because this is going to really expand, and you'll have that room, you'll have that space to travel out and pick up on these anomalies and things that are out of the normal natural order of things in Star Citizen. They're going to lay out those artifacts and those assets in the game.
Okay.
Kemi, I want to ask you a question.
Yes,
Do
sir.
you see them perhaps creating like a tech tree almost, and then having the science ships like contribute to research and unlocking new techs as like a community challenge thing for the whole like game?
Well, a challenge, or well, the fact that we have Sherry Heiberg, she's like archivist.
Yeah.
And right there, she's got her hands in things in that event of having all these items and categorizing and having a hierarchy. Just like when we were getting little bits of the inside Star Citizen of alien creatures, they're building a hierarchy of these creatures, apex to domestic to all these different categories. So they haven't said anything about these other components that are out there, but we know they're going to exist. So yes, we're going to see a lot of things being created, and they're going to put them in these categories. And that's why, again, they keep saying that iCache is so important. It's not just a coffee cup. It's not just a gun or armor or ship components. The iCache system will be able to allow them to really expand out these categories or these items across their server, across all of their expanded servers. So they don't have to be 100% saturated in all the servers. They can be a few here, a few there, but in their database, there could be hundreds of thousands of artifacts and items waiting for you to find them. So it's that, and Tony Z is going to love it. It's the cat and mouse with it, of not just of fighting and all these things. It's discovery. There's so many. It's going to be so many layers of exploration, not just about going far away and being out in the black and just no one's here. I'm out here by myself. That's exploration. Exploration is the complexity of things, the component makeup of things, and analyzing those depths on a molecular structure level to the high level of a planet size of these artifacts that are different. And so with that said, yes, that ship on a granular level, we're going to get a medium-sized ship. And then as we see the cadence is, they're like with the Prospector, you have that Prospector ship. Now it's building up to the Argo Mole. And now we're going to look at mining in space. Now the refining of minables. Now you're going to be introduced to the Orion. So yes, we're going to see a cadence of how far this can go. And once they're satisfied with that, we're going to be in a good place.
Gigi, let me ask you a question. I think I talked to you about the Endeavor. I told you that one of my fears about buying the Endeavor or getting the Endeavor was the fact that you have to have people who are going to work that ship. It's not a ship that you're going to take out by yourself and you're going to go run in the back and jump in the Super Collider, then go run in the back and work in the Chem lab.
Yeah.
Will the Reliance Sin be a means for people for those who like science in some form? Because I do want to differentiate the exploration aspect versus the science, because there's a little lab in there. There's like a little microscope. There's all types of weird things like that. And Kemi talked about being able to go to some planet and maybe discover something that we don't even know about. Do you think that it's still, for one person, Do you think that'll be a career that some people would be interested in? Because I know we've talked about, you know, different people like to do different things in the game. Will there be people that want to, like this science geeky person who wants to go out there and find this certain flower or fauna and examine it, and that becomes a part of them and selling information? Is that another form of gameplay?
Yeah, in-game paleontology sounds awesome.
Okay, okay.
That sounds great. I mean, that's essentially what it is. It's like a botanical paleontologist, like the lady from Jurassic Park. You know, like that's essentially the same thing, but it's exploring and finding new ones rather than the old ones. And I can't imagine that it wouldn't become some form of science and gameplay.
Okay,
that's a great point.
Eisenburn, thank you for the follow. We appreciate that. We appreciate it. Okay. All right, let's hit the last one here. We're about to wind her down here, and it's going to go to the grandpappy here. Yeah, the biggin. Misk, and this is probably, I think most of us feel that this ship is one of those ships that is anticipated, but at the same time,
take it away, Griff.
It'll be a while before we see it. The Misk Endeavor, and as you guys see, this is heavy science. I know we're wrapping up this thing with the science ships. I'm gonna start with Gigi this time around. Gigi, this ship is by the time you get through investing in it, just for the base part, the ship part itself is $350. By the time you get all the different modules, and there's everything from what I thought was a med pod. I kept hearing people say med pod.
No,
it's
that's
not
a
med
hospital,
pod.
sir.
It's a hospital, right? It's got 3 floors.
It's not a med pod.
It's got 3 floors.
Yeah.
The hangar is supposed to be able to hold, if I'm not mistaken, 3 Cutlass Reds. I mean, it's a big ship, and many people believe that the ship is going to grow in size over what they've shown us thus far. Is this ship? I'm going to ask this: is this one of those ships that, for lack of a better way of saying it, is it going to be a target? Are people going to see these and target them?
In a way, yes, but also in a way, no, right? Because you run up to an endeavor, it's going to take a lot of work to get to any valuables in the endeavor. So you will have to be prepared to do some stealthy things. You're not going to go shoot up an endeavor and take anything. That's a waste of your time.
Good point.
You're going to have to be prepared to get on that ship, like to sneak someone on, sneak whatever data it is you're trying to get. You're not going to, unless you come out, you know what I mean, with a javelin or an F8, you're wasting your time trying to shoot at an endeavor. And even then, you're still wasting your time.
Let me elaborate on something Gigi's saying. A lot of people don't know this, but the Endeavor's armor is supposed to be strong enough to be able to handle meteorite storms. So this is not just some lightweight Misk ship. And I think a lot of times people see it and think that, oh, it's so vulnerable.
This is a ship built for heavy science, which means it's built to be out there. You're not going to
for a long time.
For a long while. You're not just going to run up on it and, you know, do whatever it is you're trying to do. You better be prepared to work, and the people that you bring with you to do whatever work you got to do better have the reputation to get it done, because y'all better be some of the best smugglers, you know what I mean, like in the verse, to get on and off that ship without being found and taken care of. Because I'm pretty sure with an endeavor, there's got to be somewhere to hold people who try something that's stupid, doesn't it?
All right.
So you got a lot to think about before. That's a mission. That's a sit down with people, plan it out. This is like an Ocean's 11. This is a mission. You know, like we gotta do it.
Kimmy, there's a lot of different things that you can do with an endeavor. Is this, you know, there's the whole biodomes aspect. There's the super collider where you're able to upgrade, make components and do things like that. There's the hospital aspect of it. There's science labs. Who is this ship for? I mean, it does so many different things. Who is this ship for that investment?
The scientists.
Somebody who's really into science? Okay.
The scientists.
Is it about profit or science or both? I mean, not to be funny, because the reason why I'm saying that is this, and bear with me when I say this. Usually science and stuff is, you know, money's an issue, right? I mean, to operate this thing is not going to be no small task, right? So where's the profitability? It's not like when we go out with the Orion, we easily see where the dollars come from to cover the expenses. But what about science? Is that going to be a factor with this ship?
You're a floating hospital.
Well, similar to that's the apparent and obvious part of it, Gigi, and I agree. Those modules serve to specific purposes. But then when we're talking about, and again, I want to thank you all because, man, you guys got me thinking, and I'm literally, right as I speak, I'm having an aha moment to the content of what we're talking about, and then the possibilities right now. Those domes, which is reminiscent of Microtech, and having the science modules, and then the Sin incorporated, and then I'm thinking about the Apollo and the hospital. The fact that you can take the Apollo ships and roll them up to the hospital modules to this ship. So what's to stop SIG, similar to the mining the refinery station, to have science labs now similar to Microtech? You have these artifacts, these anomalies that you and data that you extract and save. What's stopping you from treating it similar to the mining aspect of the game and going to these research facilities around these different planets and systems, and taking that and getting paid for it because it's a legitimate item that they can use? And then later on, it's discovered that it enhances maybe your health pen or the or medical facilities, you know. And so when you see this, yes, it can be industrial because now you know you can have the Sin come and land into the facilities of the Endeavor, and then that other added gameplay comes into the fold, where then you're taking this artifact and they're doing the research right there, or you go to the hospital or research facilities and go further into the research, and it comes to that it's discovered that this particular anomaly can do this, that, and the other. Okay. So yeah, I'm having an aha moment right now on this.
That's cool.
Lady Space Patrol also made a very good point. Did that agricultural module go sell food out in the middle of nowhere in Pyro?
Feed the space cows.
Feed the people who can't get to, you know what I mean, regular space stations to get what they need. And not only that, but if you are a floating hospital out in the middle of nowhere, everyone who's out in the middle of nowhere, you just became a huge commodity.
Yes,
you know, like
the spaceman is real.
If you need health help that you cannot access, you know, from where you are, and being able to hop a ship and get to an Endeavor, come on, man.
Okay, good point. Judifus, thank you for the follow. Nakara, this ship is one of the unique ships in Star Citizen where the pilot or the command module separates from its back half. What are some scenarios you think that people would actually literally maybe leave that upper portion or the back portion of their ship up there? Why would they want to separate? I mean, other than maybe being attacked, but I don't even know if they would want to do it then. What would be some? Because that command module is a really big piece of the ship. It's pretty big. What do you think CIG had in mind with that being able to separate that part of the ship for an exploration ship like this, or science ship?
So Griffin, thank you for asking me because I was gonna bring it up. I was gonna bring it up anyway. So one of the is one of the really interesting aspects of this ship. So let me paint a picture for you. So because this ship is a heavy science ship, but it is also an exploration ship, the biggest exploration ship. So, you know, your buddy and your Carrick discovered a new jump point. All right, so you can haul over there with your Endeavor, go through this new jump point. You can position what is essentially a brand new space station in a system that potentially has no infrastructure. And then you can use the front half, and so you can position it as a space station, then detach the front half and go along with your Carrick buddy and explore the rest of this system, and then return back there. Meanwhile, the back half of your ship can be operating as a space station and can do whatever you've decided to do, farm or to create local food, or, you know, whatever there is to do in this new system, or even just act as a place for people to spawn and for people to get equipment and supplies in this system that has no other infrastructure. It's a really advanced ship, and I honestly, the Endeavor is one of the neatest ships in Star Citizen. This ship is basically the stretch goal of Star Citizen as a game, because it does everything.
Yes.
We talk about this on the relay station. I think the Endeavor is the last ship that's going to make in the game.
Agreed.
Because every single gameplay system has to work for the Endeavor to do its thing.
Yes.
And one of the things that I'm really fascinated by, and I don't think anybody else brought this up, but there's an observatory module to it.
Right.
And I'm thrilled to find out what the idea is there. Now, are we looking more towards, I know it can be used for science, but what can you do in terms of, let's say, reconnaissance? Observing the fleets of other organizations from afar. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, because it is absolutely key to the whole science thing, and therefore the Endeavor, I think one of the master strokes of designing Star Citizen was making data into a actual thing in the game. Like, how extracting data, collecting data, intercepting data is a whole economy in and of itself, and it creates these gameplay loops for data runners, for exploration, for science, and actually makes them something that are worthwhile doing.
I definitely want to add to Nakara's statement. That's spot on. Exactly. You use the scanning suite and figure out that there's anomalies or there's artifacts in this distance. You go to this planet, and basically you detach that module for specimen extraction. You go that you verify it's there. You detach. You go down. You get the specimen. You put it back on the ship, and you come back. Whatever that specimen may be, because you've analyzed it and found that this anomaly is something of nature of uncommon of what we're familiar with. And the computer system, the data systems, has extrapolated that this anomaly is unique in all of the verse.
That's a good point. Phenike, I hope I said your name correctly. Please forgive me if I didn't. Says, don't forget you can get paid to survey planets. I mean, as you mentioned, there's so many different things.
Yes.
It's got the big telescope. What do they call the radio? It's not an antenna, but there's a big antenna
Super
array
collider,
that goes on this thing. Well, you've got the super collider. You've got the big. There's like a big antenna array. I don't even know what that's for yet. There's so many different pieces.
That's the observatory.
Yeah, the observatory. Okay,
observatory.
So there's like nine pieces to this ship that can be interwoven. Now, mind you, guys, of course, you can't put all 9 on at one time. I think you all already know that. Radio telescope. Thank you, Fast Car. But the fact is that
Someone's gonna try.
Yeah, you can mix it and have at least 2
Someone's
or 3
definitely
of these.
gonna try.
Yeah, somebody will.
Boom!
Somebody will.
I
Science
will
project.
personally love to watch them fall out of the air.
Here's the
Nakara.
shot. I'm just gonna link this in chat. So
Okay,
this is the observatory, and also I want to see this freaking antenna in the game because it's enormous.
Okay.
Just enormous.
Fast Car, can you give Nakara access there?
Telescope array.
Sorry.
Telescope array.
Telescope.
Well,
array.
that's where you're going to find these artifacts and anomalies.
Yeah.
And it could be several systems away as well.
Yeah. I do want to say this, Nakara. Thank you for sharing that idea, because I never thought about that detaching reason, where that becomes like an, you drop it as a remote space station. That's a pretty cool idea to think that. I know they've talked about being able to have things orbit in the game, but to be able to drop that into orbit around a certain moon or planet would be amazing. And then while you go down to the surface of a planet and do something, or even if you just go somewhere else, it's a unique way of thinking it. But I agree with you. This is the granddaddy as far as I've always felt that the Endeavor would be one of the last ships of the ones that we know of that we will see. If I were to put anything behind that, it would probably be the Orion would be next to that. I think we'd probably even see something like the Starliner before we even see the Orion. I could be wrong, but the Orion, it's the last of the mining careers, so it could pop up eventually because the mechanics are there. But just getting the Orion to work It's going to be no small task. But guys, keep your eyes open for when drones start working, because when drones start working, that means a whole lot of other ships, Carrick, Reclaimer, a whole lot of other ships, Vulcan, a lot of other ships start to become active. The Orion, become active. So keep your eyes open. Even the Nautilus, I mean, there's so many other ships that are tied into drones. So keep your eyes open for that.
One real backstory about the Endeavor, and I'm done. Real quick. I believe it was 2016, DragonCon Atlanta. I met Ben Lesnick for the very first time. I looked up at Ben, he looked at me, and I just gave him a bear hug. I just gave him a bear hug. He gave me my very first pen, which was which wasn't out at the time, the Constellation Phoenix. And in that forum, he revealed the Endeavor for the very first time. It was the first concept ship, and it was like, it went for like $335 or $350, and I'm like, damn it, I can't afford that. But he revealed it, and it was said that was his concept ship.
It was. You're absolutely right, Kimmy. Yep, that's an ode to Ben Lesnick. Well, a lot of ships are an ode to Ben Lesnick, that's for sure. Okay, well, we have chopped through all of our ships for the day. Whoa, that's the wrong thing. How did I get on that screen? We're not gone. We're not gone. We're not gone. We're here. We're here. We're not gone. Release the Kraken. Release the Kraken. Yeah, no, we are still here. I want to get rid of that privateer, and I go back here. I'm just hitting all the wrong buttons today. Okay. But yeah, that's it, guys, for our Industrial Starship show. We covered a lot of ships today, and we really appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. Don't forget, 3.12 is out to PTU for first wave. Probably the way things are going right now, we maybe by the end of this week, it might be moving on to the next wave. Will I not? Thank you for that follow. So keep your eyes open for it. It should be coming out. People are streaming it. What we can tell you is this: if you have not been in 312, the gas clouds are beautiful. That's all I can tell you. It takes it to a whole nother level, and we also definitely see how industrial careers are going to benefit from that new technology that they've put into the game. So those of you who are into industry and industrial, get ready to get your bank accounts ready, get ready to transfer money, because you're going to need to do it, because we're going to make a lot of money in Star Citizen, hopefully.
Well, I just heard earlier today that the PTU is open to all backers.
Oh, it is. Oh, thanks, Kimmy. That's awesome. Kimmy gave us the good news. So, hey, start doing your downloads, folks. Get ready and go in and enjoy. Make sure you visit the refinery. We cannot emphasize this. If you want to know where refineries are currently, at all the L1. So if it's ARC L1, Hurston L1, that's where you can find the refineries. They're going to expand them out into the L2s a little later. But
Lady Space Patrol Griff, she said Gib 400i.
What is that?
Lady Space Patrol, you already know where my heart is with Origin, okay? So you know I'm already...
Griff is always done. Griff always is like, I don't need no more ships. I got everything I want.
Unless it's
right up until Origin drops a new ship.
My family was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" I said, "Send some money aside for my Origin ship when it comes out. That's what I'm going to want."
Do you see this
nonsense? That's it. Don't buy me nothing. Get that gift card. That's what I'm going to
It's an urban legend. It's not real. It's a rumor.
You're absolutely right, Lady Space Patrol. All right, guys. Thanks again so much. Nakara, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me at Nakara on Twitter. You can find me on Relay Station, which is on Saturdays at 4 Eastern Time. And over at twitch.tv/RelaySC. And you can also find us on the Relay Discord, which you can also find on that Twitch page.
Absolutely.
It has a short... short link, but my brain just doesn't
follow. Well, Fast Cards put it in chat for you, so it's all there. Yes, and by the way, guys, seriously, if you're interested in SpaceX, Nakara does great commentary and follows the space program. So if you don't want to do the work, he does it. Trust me. I play catch up sometimes when I'm behind, but I catch up.
No, I do too. When I'm behind, because I don't have the wherewithal to go looking for it, so
he streams it live.
Him having conglomerated it in one space, and I can just go and take it all in at once is so helpful.
No MSR, no MSR, SpaceX. We're separating those words, so just so you'll know, okay? All right, Kimmy, where can people find you?
You can see me streaming on Twitch twitch.tv/KEMI65. You'll find me here, Soul Citizens, at 8 p.m. standard time, Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes you'll find me on Friday Night Lives, late Friday, 11:30 EST PM.
EST, Eastern Time. And Gigi, where can we find you and your little friend? Your little friend. Can we show everybody your little friend one more time?
Pico.
Where can people find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/theGreenEyedGyal. You can find me on Twitter at theGreenEyedGyal. And you can find me here on Sundays and sometimes on Fridays. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We are going to do a raid to Maiden Ariana. And she is in the PTU right now, in fact. So she says she has 5 work days until she goes on her vacation. So encourage her to get through work and so she can enjoy Star Citizen. We hope that all of you guys are taking good care of yourselves as we get ready to go into the holidays. Our show this Friday, don't forget Friday Night Live, where we'll be on this Friday. I think this will be our last Friday coming up. And then we are, next Sunday, our show is called Wishes, about Christmas wishes. And so we're going to be talking about what are you wishing for in Star Citizen as we get ready to get near the end of the year, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, time is flying by. So we really appreciate you guys' support as always. For those of you who followed, subscribed, and for those of you who just hung out with us tonight, we really appreciate you guys. Say hi to Maid Ariana, hang out with her for a little bit, tell her the Soul Citizen sent you guys, and as always, peace, love, and soul. You guys take it easy.
Bye, everybody.
See you soon.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Nakara.
Thanks for coming.
Anytime. That was a lot.